Alright, Twilight Struggle Round 2. The last game we played, the Russians dominated and destroyed the US at turn 3. Hopefully we'll have a more even game. We'll be able to see more of the cards later on. Standard board setup. I mean, that always is the same. Middle East, Europe, just like that. Plus Canada. The Americas, Africa, Asia. 0 VP, 0 Ops, DEFCON 5, turn 1, space on Earth. Let's take a look at the first cards. Obviously, Russia begins play with the China card. Got our influence over here and over here. Dice. We don't need that D10. Different game. Let's take a look at the cards. Russian hand first. We've got here 5-year plan. Russians must discard 1 card randomly. Focus. Russians must randomly discard 1 card from their hand. If the card is a U.S. associated event, the event occurs immediately. If the card is a USSR associated event, or an event applicable to both players, card must be discarded without triggering the event. Could be problematic if they draw something like Duck and Cover or some other DEFCON CIA created. Could be bad. Either one of those cards could cause the end of the game if we were at DEFCON 2. We'll probably end up playing that earlier. Although we do have a lot of American cards in our hand, I've looked through them already. We'll see. Not sure. Definitely not our headline card in any case. UN intervention. Play along with a U.S. associated event or your opponent's associated event. Cancel that card's effect and use its points for ops instead. Korean War. North Korea invades South Korea. Die roll 4 to 6. You win. USSR adds 2 to the ops and 2 to the VP. Replaces all U.S. influence with Russian influence. Not too good of an idea right now. Americans only have 1. A couple of things we can do. We can wait for the U.S. to play into South Korea and play Korean War. But what I'd rather do is hold on to Korean War, play it for ops, keep it in the deck to make the U.S. worry about it. Worry about that it's in there. Special relationship. If UK is U.S. controlled and NATO is not in effect, U.S. adds 1 influence to any country adjacent to the UK. NATO's not in effect, obviously at the beginning of the game. Not too worried about that. Probably play that for ops, that's fine. East European unrest. This can be rough. Remove 1 Soviet influence from 3 countries in Eastern Europe. Once we do initial deployment, we could have an issue on our hand with that. May save that for UN intervention. Containment. US cards add 1 to the ops for the rest of the turn. Play that at the end of the turn. Not a lot of damage. Olympic Games. Played for 2 ops. Effect is negligible. US-Japan Mutual Defense Pact. US takes Japan. We will probably play this early on. It's going to have an asterisk, so it's going to get permanently discarded pretty quickly here. Yeah, probably going to play that for points at some point. 4 points is much more useful to me than trying to take Japan, because the U.S. is just going to take Japan. They always do. Alright, United States hand. Truman Doctrine. Remove all USSR influence from 1 uncontrolled country in Europe. We'll probably try to use this to our advantage. A lot of times it doesn't really work out that way because the Russians are aware that Truman Doctrine is in there and that you could have it. Decolonization. A hated card to get as the U.S. because usually you can space it, and usually you do space it because it can be tragic to have USSR influence in Southeast Asia early on, or even Africa for that matter. It could be bad. Marshall Plan, U.S. card, 4 ops. Add 1 in 7 Western European countries. That'll be good for us. Capture Nazi scientists, move up 1 space on the space race. That's good. NORAD. Add 1 U.S. influence to a country that already contains some U.S. influence anytime the DEFCON status moves to the 2 box. That's good. Comic-Con, a 3 ops Russian card. Add 1 USSR influence in each of 4 non-U.S. controlled countries in Eastern Europe. Not too bad. Duck and Cover, degrade DEFCON 1 level. U.S. player earns VP equal to 5 minus the current DEFCON level after that happens. We may play that early on. Because, you know, if we want to if we can deny the USSR a coup, we will. Maybe in the headline phase, actually. Now that I think about it. If we play that during the headline phase, the DEFCON's going to go to 4. The Russians will probably coup, and then we'll get the second coup, which could be beneficial. Yeah, that actually might be not a bad headline phase, unless we want to play defectors. If we have any reason to believe that they have a good headline card, we can cancel with defectors. We have no idea what they have, since the game hasn't even started yet. So I think we'll save defectors till maybe turn 2 or turn 3. Duck and Cover is going to be the headline card. For the Russians, none of these are particularly good headline cards, are they? Yep, it may be, might as well play Olympic Games, there's nothing else to play. Not going to hurt us, not going to do anything. We have some initial deployment to do. The Russians technically set up first. No real reason in our hands to deviate from the standard setup. 4 in Poland. An additional 1 in East Germany to make it 4, and 1 in Yugoslavia. They get 6 points. Eastern Europe, that's fine. Trying to focus. It's not really happening. That's fine. Okay. Oh, no wonder. I got the zoom all the way up. Yeah, there we go. That's better. I got the zoom all wonky. Okay, let's go do the okay. 7 points for the Americans in Western Europe. Typical opening setup again. 4 in West Germany and 3 in Italy is a good move. Specifically because we still have access to France and the Russians don't, so we're not worried about that. And also, we could be worried about Charles de Gaulle could come in and take our influence if we put some there. So that's kind of a standard setup for both players. Headline phase, we've got our headline cards here. They flip simultaneously. Highest value ops goes first. Duck and Cover occurs first. Degrade DEFCON 1 level. Player earns VP equal to 5 minus current DEFCON level. That's going to be 1 point for the Americans. There we go. That's all that. That's temporary discard. That's going to go face up. I'll draw a deck. We'll put that over here. That's fine. Olympic Games. The Russians sponsor the Olympics. Opponent may participate or boycott. We don't want to boycott as the Americans because that means they get to conduct ops if they played a 4 ops card, which could be very detrimental. Because the Russians are going to go first, so we don't want to let them have, you know, potentially 8 ops in a row. So we'll roll. That's fine. Russians gain +2, highest reroll ties. Winner gains 2 VP. Russians with 4, Americans with 1. Russians gain 2 VP. All right, no asterisk. Temporary discard. There we go. Russians go first. Okay, let's see. What to do now? What to do now? No scoring cards to kind of strategize around. We've kind of got a really crappy hand here. Let's do this. Take the first coup with U.S.-Japan Mutual Defense Pact. We realize the Americans' ploy to try and get the last coup, which will hopefully try to get so high in Iran that it won't even be necessary. Let's see, we got +4. Iran has stability number of 2. There it is. So the target number is 4. We've got +4. 5. Actually, that's really all we needed. The American position gets worse by 1, so they lose their 1 point in Iran. All right. And actually, that's actually a quite ideal scenario because the Americans can't coup back because you have to have there has to be some opponent's influence in a region to coup it. Effective U.S.-Japan Mutual Defense Pact will happen. The Americans take Japan. There it is. Yep, that's asterisk. That's going to be face down discard. Okay. Americans' turn. Okay. We can't coup. We're not happy about that. What's the play? Oh, I forgot. DEFCON goes down to 3. Russians gain 4 ops from U.S. Japan. Okay, Americans' turn. Let's take a look here. Not sure. Coup. Let's coup something. Let's see. We can coup in Asia. We can coup in the Middle East only. Not very many good targets. As you can see, Iraq has stability 3, meaning it's going to be hard to coup. We do have Marshall Plan, but I'd rather use that for the effect. We want to get that coup out of the way. Maybe Syria might be a good choice. I think we'll do this 3 ops card to coup Syria. That's not too bad. Yeah, we don't want to have the Russians get another coup. We'll coup Syria with 3 points. That's 4 plus 3 is 7. Target number for Syria is 4. American position gets better by 3. That's the difference. Russians lose 1. Americans gain 2. Take control of Syria. That's fine. Effect of Comic-Con happens. 1 USSR influence in 4 countries in Eastern Europe. They're going to add 1 to each East Germany and Poland. That's just tradition. And let's see, 2 more. I think we're going to do 1 in Czechoslovakia and 1 in Austria, just to be annoying, just to be threatening. That's asterisk event. That effect is going to go in the discard pile, face down. Russians' turn. Let's see. What's the play? Let's see. We've got our UN intervention we can play. Theoretically, we've got the China card we can play. No scoring cards really to speak of. What we want to do actually, yeah, actually that makes sense. That I totally forgot. As the Americans, DEFCON doesn't go down because Syria is not a battleground country. Big mistake for the Americans. That was 3 ops though. Thing is, you know, Russians can coup, but the only move is Syria, and we've got access to more scrumptious territory than Syria. So I think we're going to play. You know, but we also want to get that DEFCON status down. I think we're going to coup Panama. That's a good idea. Let's just do this. Let's do 2 ops with Korean War coup Panama just to get the DEFCON status down. That's 3 plus 2 is 5. Target number was 4. Once again, Americans only lose 1. That's really all we needed to do, though. That's a Russian event. We have the Russians right now. That's going to get face up. Effect didn't happen. Got another op. DEFCON goes down. That's fine. Okay, Americans' turn. Let's see. I think we'd like to go ahead and play the Marshall Plan to have NATO be in effect, or possible to be in effect. That's 1 in 7 Western European countries. That's going to be 1 in Canada. 1 in West Germany, 1 in Italy, that's 3, 1 in France makes 4, 5, 1 in Finland, 6, 1 in Spain, Portugal, and 7, 1 in Greece. Those cheaper European countries can be paramount to the number of countries game if you're going for domination. Marshall Plan, that's the effect. That's asterisk. That's going to go face down. Russian turn. Let's see. Not happy. Yeah, we got to use those points. We want to use points in. I think we're going to save. Well, you know, we can do this. We can play UN intervention with 5-year plan for 3 ops. We're going to take some command of the Middle East as the Russians. We're going to take 3 Yeah, 3 in Iran is probably best. If you watched the last game, the key to the Russian victory was controlling this Western Asian corridor right here. Having Pakistan and India essentially off the map for the Americans was paramount to their victory. But at that stage, the Russians had played Vietnam revolts, which let them take Thailand, and so it was blocking them off from Malaysia. But the Americans had access to Malaysia via Australia, which could make this more interesting than that game. So that was 3 ops. UN intervention cancels the event, doesn't happen. All face up. Americans' turn. Let's see. We want to get some influence in Asia. Would be nice. We know the Russians have the China card, so we might want to take South Korea. They've already played Korean War, so we're not worried about that. But I'd like to play NORAD because that's a good card. I think Asia's okay right now. Let's do... how about 1 point with Truman Doctrine? We're going to play this for ops because we want the effect to come back. I'm not confident that we'll be able to use it effectively in Europe, so we just use 1 point and we'll finish taking... we'll take Canada with that, so we can play NORAD next turn. Get that effect, or even play it in the headline card if we want to. We didn't play it for the effect, that's face up. Russian turn, we've got 3 turns left, 3 rounds left. Let's play... It's probably special relationship, 2 points. We're going to put it in Iraq. Effect happens. UK is US controlled, but NATO is not an effect. US gets 1. They're going to put into France. So that's adjacent to the UK. That's fine. There we go. No asterisk. Face up. American turn. Let's see. We want to save defectors. Let's do NORAD for the effect. That's going to be an effect. Russian turn. 2 choices left. I see the Russians are going to play the China card. That's 5 points in Asia. It's going to be 2 into Afghanistan and 3 into Pakistan to kind of get that out of control. Also, if the Americans happen to take Indo-Pakistani war during the draw, they'll be at a major disadvantage. And that's China card gets face down over here by the Americans. They'll get it next turn. Americans' turn. Let's see. 3 choices, 2 turns left for the Americans. They've got, control of Europe is imminent. Asia's not looking too hot. We don't want to play decolonization. We don't want to play defectors. Capture Nazi scientists for the effect. Face down, that's asterisk. U.S. moves up on the space race. They get 2 points because 2 points is the first number there, and the Americans were the first country there. 2 points for the Americans, back to 1. Last turn for the Russians. We could space one of these, but we'd rather play containment for 3 points. 3 points can be mighty useful. Let's do this. Let's take... Yeah, I mean, Middle East scoring and Asia scoring going to come out at some point. We want to make sure that we've got plenty of influence to spread around in case of de-Stalinization. We just want to get that influence on the board. Let's do 3 points in the Middle East. Yeah, see, we don't want to let them get to Thailand. Might as well, let's do this. Let's do 3 in India. We're just getting closer and closer to Thailand. Americans get +1 on this last play. Even with the +1 as the Americans, decolonization is not worth it. So space race, decolonization. As you can see here, the roll is going to be 2 ops card. We played a 2 ops card. Roll 1 to 4. We got to get 1 to 4. 2. That moves us up on the space race. We can play 2 space race cards per turn now. And we're all set there. That's the end of the round. At the end of the round, we need 2 ops. We both have at least 2 ops. This gets reset for the next round. DEFCON goes up by 1. We're going to do turn marker up to turn 2. China card gets flipped and is on the American side now. And then we're going to deal the cards, and we'll come back and see what's going on there. As we can see here, the Russians have a beginning to look like they have the advantage in Asia. It's a good thing, though, for the Americans. The Americans will still be able to beat them to Thailand unless they get Vietnam revolts. The Americans still have a chance to make some headway in the Middle East. It'll depend on what scoring cards come out for the Americans. See what they do. They've got de facto control of or de facto domination of Europe. We'll see what happens.